Hello, hello, hello. Give us the duck. I'll try. I'll try to provide the duck as much as I can. Still, still not fully healthy. Still not fully there, but we'll make do. We will make do. And if I disappear at any point and you hear running sounds, that's just me going to the toilet. But unlikely. Unlikely. Hi Dawn, still in ecstasy or closed this position? I closed it a while ago. I mean, I talked about it for 2 weeks about like closing it. Felt like that was enough of like a heads up. Didn't want to dump on anyone. But yeah, I closed that a while ago. But I mean, I didn't make much profit with it. I basically round tripped it. It's like I do with ecstasy all the time. Every single time I buy Tezos, it does this shit where I buy it, it goes up, it runs into resistance. I'm greedy. It fucking rejects. It goes back. I sell. That is what it is. I think this was the last time that I bought this shit. Fuck this. Not again. How's Cred doing? Cred's doing good. He's gonna be around. He's gonna be around. Don't worry about it. Before I start the show, big shout out to the sponsor of the episode, which is FTX, formerly known as Blockfolio. And I mean by saying this episode, it's every episode because they sponsor all of it, which I'm grateful for. But yeah, they have pretty much the best mobile app for crypto spot trading that I think you can have. In my opinion, it's the best one anyway. And you should check that out if you want to check it out. Links to that are in the description. And yeah, a bunch of stuff has happened that we can talk about. A bunch of volatility, even though it's a little bit less than you would imagine given the news, which I don't want to talk too much about. We can discuss it briefly, but I don't want to get into the politics of it all too much because one, it's not my expertise, and two, I just think everyone basically knows what's going on and you don't need me to kind of go over it too much. Cred liquidated? No. He's just been on the road. Still looking for an entry in XRP. I'm honestly not looking for an entry in anything at all. Not Bitcoin, not Ethereum, not XRP, nothing. And that might be a bottom signal in itself, but I'm not interested in buying anything. I told you guys weeks ago that I would not want to see the market go back to 33K. If it did, I would start expecting the market to actually go down. And I mean, we went back there, even though we're bouncing right now. I'm just not too excited. 100 views, it's actually over. Yeah, fucking market's dead. Nah, it's unscheduled. Like I scheduled it like two minutes before the show started, and it's not the usual day. So I'm not surprised. It's gonna take a while until people come in, and even if they don't, I mean, like I said, I'm not doing too well, so I'm kind of glad if it's a little bit quieter, so I don't have to watch what I say too much. Don't want to get roasted for stupid shit. It looks so bad. It does. It does. In comparison to the S&P, it looks much better than you would think. Honestly, like that's the one saving grace. The S&P just basically looks complete garbage, and if we don't close the weekly above the support again, it just looks like a breakdown, right? While Bitcoin has held support so far, but still, like I'm just not excited. I'm gonna wait, sit it out, and see where it goes. I bought 33K once, it bounced, I sold. I'm not gonna do the same thing again. 144p on high quality. Shouldn't be. Can anyone check? If yes, something's wrong with my settings. But yeah, I've never had that before. But yeah, we can quickly talk. I think there's a bunch to talk about with Bitcoin and ETH, and we can talk about that real quick, and then we can go over everything else. So technically, right, just the technicals. Bitcoin is right now trading below support, which is 38K. If you want to turn this back bullish, and I mean, there is still a chance to do so, right? You want to go back and start trading above 38K before the weekly close. Now, that doesn't seem too difficult given we're just 2K away, but I mean, that's the first thing that would have to happen for me to actually consider even like playing the strength, right? Because you can see how 38K has been important in the past, right? It was kind of the range high before the breakouts both times. If that happens again, I think there's a good chance that we might go higher, but I'm still not excited. So like with the situation with Russia and Ukraine is pretty bad in my opinion, and during times like that, I just don't trade. I don't mind missing out the bottom. I don't mind sitting there not in position, and then it goes to 40K and I can do whatever at 40K, or if it goes to like 50K even, right? I missed out from 40K to 50K. What's the big deal if we go to 60K or 70 or 80K after, right? I don't have a problem with that personally. But yeah, 38K would be the first kind of good sign that we were turning around, as in a weekly close above there. And the daily kind of has to go back above 40.7, I think, because at that point, what we have here, right, is one of the more bearish things that you can have, which is a bullish pattern that breaks to the downside. And the only kind of way to turn that back bullish, to me anyway, is if we go back into this range and then don't get rejected, right? Because what can happen is we go there and then get rejected and it's still bearish. So daily close above 40.7, weekly close above 38K is the minimum for me to even be slightly interested. Until then, I'm just not gonna buy. And with regards to downside, if we do crash, which is also possible, I wouldn't want to bet on it. Like, I would not want to be shorting here. I don't really see the point. I'd much rather look for buys. That said, my buys are gonna be 25K and below. I'm not gonna buy 28K. I'm not gonna buy 27, 25. If we wipe out all the way to 20K, it's gonna be an interesting area. Not entirely sure if we're gonna make it there, right? There's a good chance that we just hold this and then start creeping up again. But I don't really see a good trade unless we either mega crash or just show strength, because anything in between, you just buy this and then you pray that the political situation doesn't turn for the worst. And that's just not a good bet in my opinion. Quality is fine. Thanks, man. Appreciate you guys checking. That guy probably just had like bad internet or something. What is the trigger for longs now, if any? So the long trigger for me is a mega crash, like a humongous crash, right? Because just look at this chart, right? We've tested this support once. You could argue this is already 2 times, so 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, right? And do I want to long that again? No. We do know what happened the last time we had like this kind of behavior. It's obviously looks very different, but the kind of idea behind it is the same, right? When you hit a support level over and over and over again, at some point, it's very likely to break. And for me, this is too often, right? I wanted it to turn around at 38K. That was kind of where I would have been relieved and would have said, okay, I can see this show strength here, make a higher low. It didn't do it. It broke lower time frame patterns, which, I mean, it's not my main way of trading, but it does show you where the market really wants to head, right? If you have like such an obvious pattern that goes wrong, there's a bunch of people that got massively wrecked on this. And if I didn't stick to my rules of just not trading during stupid times like the current ones, I would have probably gotten stopped out on this as well, because it didn't actually look too bad at that point. I just know that when when the world is like it is right now, it's just not worth the risk. And I'm saying the same thing down here again, even though, like I said, this is it's still monthly support. It's just meh. I'm not excited. I'm gonna be the boring guy that says I'm just not gonna trade. How are you doing? How's dating going on? No. We're not gonna do this again. We've done this way too much last stream. We're not gonna go over this again. Everything going great though. Thanks. Like, I'm still not healthy, but getting much better, and dating life is good. So that's that. Don't need to go into more details. Is your unwillingness to short because of the tax situation in Germany, or because you think shorting is a bad idea fundamentally? Well, the thing is, I think shorting is a shit idea when you're trading in monthly support, even if the monthly support looks like shit. It just never pays. Like, monthly support has been massive. If we break it, right? Like, these are just like the few candle. You have so little monthly closes that you can actually draw out, right? This is one of them. You don't want to fade them. If they fail, right? They fail spectacularly, but most of the time they don't, right? So you had support in here, it failed, you had a 50% drawdown. That could happen here as well. But that said, you had a bunch of times where it held, and that led to upside. Now it worked out, like shorting support worked out once, didn't work out 3 times. So you can kind of calculate how deep it would have to go for that to make much sense. And I don't think that is a trade that you want to be taking. Like, if you shorted 60K and you're still in the trade, I mean, might as well hold it. But even that, I would not want to. Even if I could short, I would not short, is what I'm saying. How does one survive a bear market? If you're not rich, have a job and just work. Ignore the markets for the most part. Wait till excitement comes back in, and then go back and try again. That's how it works. That's the good way to do it. The bad way to do it is gamble away all the money that you've made in the last bull market. That's, by the way, the move that most people do, right? So they just kind of go. They're like, okay, I made a bunch of money on the way up. I'm such a good trader. I was long in a bull market, and I made 500% on my investment. I can do this full time. And then they don't realize that, I mean, the market only went up, right? And it's much easier to trade in a market in general that goes up than it is a market that goes sideways or down. And what then happens is you take a bunch of trades, you bleed out 1 or 2% every trade, and then at some point you're down 50%, and you're like, fuck, I need to make this all back, otherwise I've wasted my time. And then you go and just do stupid shit. I've seen this so many times. I've been in so many chat groups back in 2018 where I just like told people to stop being stupid. For the people that still remember the Luke's venture coinist chat group that I was in 2017, 2018, where I was helping out. It's free group. Don't want to get accused of being in the paid group or something, no, but I was just there to help people out, basically. I don't know if any one of those people are still around, but I mean, just basically told people to stop being stupid. No one listens, and no matter what you say, no one listens. So it's a moot point to talk about. But yeah, what you basically do to survive in a bear market is you learn and you do something else on the side. You don't want to be full-time trading in a bear market. At least 95% of you should not be. Creds in the chat, changing titles and shit. Yeah, honestly, the title, I was just like, my head's fucked. I cannot be asked to think of a title that I'm gonna get bullied by Cred for anyway. So I was like, okay, fuck it. I'm just gonna take the most simple, stupid title I can think of, and Cred will change it, which he did. I mean, that was like a 150 IQ play. I'm proud of myself for that one. But yeah, it's just in a bear market, you don't want to be in the market. It's just how it is. And this technically it's not a bear market yet, but it's already down, like on 4 altcoins, it's already down 75%, right? So if you didn't take profits, you're already in a shit position, which is tough, but nothing you can do about it. Thoughts on altcoins like Luna, which show immediate reaction when Bitcoin goes up 1%. Those are the altcoins you want to be trading. Like if you see some strength in coins, like Bitcoin bounces 1%, Luna goes up 5 or 10. I don't know. I haven't looked at Luna in a while. Those are the ones that you want to be trading when you think Bitcoin is actually heading into support. There's obviously a little bit more risk, but the reward outstrips the risk, especially given that if you're trading smaller size, you can just slam it and get out again if the momentum turns against you, because those smaller coins, they just run on momentum more so even than Bitcoin. And so what you can do is you wait for Bitcoin to hit support, you buy those stronger coins, they go up 10%, you see Bitcoin slowing back down again, you can sell those. That's how I used to trade back in the day. I don't do it as much anymore because there's a little bit more complicated things that get introduced by that, but yeah, it's worth it for like the smaller portfolios, I think. And even for the bigger ones, it's probably worth it. I've just been too lazy. Green monthly next on. So monthly wise, right? If you're ignoring the entire global situation, if you're ignoring war, if you're ignoring everything, right? I actually don't mind the close at 37.2K. If we close in 4 days at this exact boundary, right? Which, I mean, is quite a tall order. But if we close exactly there and then have a nothing burger next month, then I think there's actually a play to be made on another swing up. That's the only way where I'm going to buy this monthly support again. And I mean, that just means I'm going to sit flat 34 days at the minimum, if not more, unless we crash. That's kind of my view in the high time frames. And that's Bitcoin, right? And then people ask me, okay, what about ETH, right? And ETH is just a tragedy. It's still barely holding on to support on ETH BTC, right? It's still in this ascending triangle, but just barely. And isn't going anywhere, right? ETH BTC isn't going anywhere. It's just going sideways. And if it does fail this diagonal, I think there's going to be a quick move down to 0.055. Wouldn't necessarily want to bet on upside just based on the fact that the resistance is much, much closer than the support, right? So if it goes up, this is the next resistance. This is what I would typically, back in my shorting days, that is what I would short. And this is support, right? And you can see how close that resistance is in comparison to the support. So it's just not, this is not something I would want to bet on outperforming Bitcoin. And then you look at ETHUSD, and that looks actually just tragic. That looks completely trash. Broke below 4K, that was the first warning sign. Then went to 3K, held that for a little bit, broke that to retested it. I mean, it doesn't really get much worse than that. And it actually closed last week below support again, which, I mean, for me, just, I don't want to trade this. I don't. If I want to make a play on ETH, it's going to be below 2K or above 3.3K. And I know that's quite a bit away, right? If it goes to 3.3K, people are going to be like, haha, you missed the bottom. But I don't really give a shit, right? If I get a nice trade from 3.3 to 4 or even to new all-time highs, that's all good by me. But I'm not going to buy into a bearish retest like this. It's just not what I do. Just reminds me too much of 2018. And I mean, did well back then by being cautious, and I'm going to be cautious again, even if it's not the same. Dawn, gold crashing, daily deviation, what are your thoughts? Gold isn't really crashing. You're like, okay, this is like a weekly candle with a wick. But the thing is, this is the monthly, right? So it's been, I'm fucking gold. Moves 2%, right? And people are like, it's crashing because gold never fucking moves. That's my biggest problem with gold. Why the fuck does anyone buy this or sell this? Imagine shorting this and then you wait fucking 20 years for it to go down 10%. Like, what the fuck? It's just, I mean, this is such a stupid thing to trade. But this is not really crashing. It basically broke out here of a consolidation, marked up, and is now going sideways at all-time high. It's still, I mean, it's fucking gold. I'm not gonna say anything bullish about gold because I've like, you're buying a piece of rock basically. What the fuck are you gonna do with that? I've never gotten it. I will never get it. Gold's stupid in my mind, but technically this is not a bad setup in my opinion. Even if the weekly like full retraced, it's not a bad setup. It's basically like ranging here. It's a shitty range, but it's a range. You can argue that it's actually this one. I don't really care, but it's like roughly ranging in between 19 and 70.6, roughly, right? And it's kind of pushing upwards. So I'm not hating the setup. I know a few people that bought gold. It's gold. I mean, you're going to be euphoric if it moves 1%. And then it goes back down 0.5, and then the next month it goes back up 0. It's a time waster. Do you think the class of 2018 or even before that is usually doing better because the PTSD protects them from unlimited downside? So I think the 2018 class actually does worse in bull markets, or like in general, like the 2017-16 class, because they're not buying the most retarded shit because they've seen how it went down. And then the most stupid stuff, and we can just look at Dogecoin real quick. The most stupid stuff goes up a shitload, right? And people people that have been around are like, why would I be buying this? Because it's stupid. I know it's gonna full retrace. The noobs that come in are like, a meme coin, nice. I'm gonna buy this and make 100,000x, and then they do it and it goes up a shitload, and they're euphoric and they never sell and they keep buying, and then it goes back down again, and they're actually losing money. And that's where kind of the experience comes in on the losing money front, because you're not gonna see me give back everything I've made in the bull market ever. Like, that's just not going to happen to me, because I'm too cautious for it, right? I sell too early to make that happen. But I mean, you're also gonna sell earlier in the early stages of the bull market, and you're gonna miss out on some percent. So it's like give and take. It's not necessarily who's better. It depends on the market. In raging bull markets, the biggest idiot is gonna win in the biggest bull run, right? That's just how the markets have been, and the biggest idiot is gonna lose the most in the bear market. They're gonna lose everything, and so you kind of have to see, okay, what market are we trading in, and you can just copy trade your most stupid friend in the bull market, and then kind of risk off when you think you're heading into a bear market. Cred says, I left a like so FTX doesn't fire us and leave us homeless. Appreciate that, man. I actually asked for likes in the last video, and we got like 500 or something. I don't want to disclose why people like the video so much, because it's embarrassing, but I did ask for it, and people actually were nice enough to click it. Which, to be quite fair, I hope they wouldn't, because I'm not gonna make make an episode like that again. But still. So yeah, that's that. And people are really, really excited about this bounce, right? And I mean, it's quite a nice bounce. And the reason why it's interesting, I think, the only reason why it's interesting while it's heading into resistance, right? This is strong resistance here. We'll see how that goes. But the reason why this bounce is interesting is because the S&P has actually like looked much, much weaker, right? You can see how on the lower time frames and even on the higher time frames, let's actually go it this way. On the daily time frame, it's more easy to see. You actually managed to make, or like to keep the low on Bitcoin down here at 33K and didn't make a new low at 34. Like we've just made a higher low basically. And the S&P did the opposite, right? That's why people are excited. I think it's a little bit early with a chart like this, but I could see some upside. I'm just not excited until it's above 40K. Is this currently short squeeze or is this real demand? We'll see. I mean, I would say it's some sort of real demand given this deviation, right? So you have strength compared to the S&P, which hasn't been the case for this, like for a lot of the downturn. So it's a good sign to have that into monthly support. It's just, like I said, it's a little bit scary to do anything right now. If the situation gets worse, the Ukraine-Russia situation, markets are just probably going to go back to dumping. I don't know. It's a situation that I have not traded before in crypto. So do you think any of the major altcoins top 20 will perform better than ETH on a prolonged bear market? No. I think they're all going to underperform ETH, and ETH is going to underperform Bitcoin. If we're heading into a bear market and you're holding an altcoin, no matter how good you think it is, you're probably going to lose 90% of your money. And I mean, do with that what you will. I don't like it's gonna go down 90%, and if you actually pick one of the 10 that is gonna survive it, it's gonna go up and 20x afterwards, or 30x, or 50x. It's just picking that one right, the 1 out of 10 or the 1 out of 100 right, and then also making it through that downturn without giving up is quite hard to do. One thing that I always see, and this is something that grinds my gears so much, is when people say, I hope we're getting a bear market, I'm just gonna accumulate my favorite altcoin on the way down. It's one of the stupidest things that you could do in crypto. It's one of the worst strategies, and it's pretty much the reason why so many people from 2017 and 18 aren't around anymore. Because what they did is they bought, back in 2019, 17, I mean, for Reddit, this is still the case. This was the best altcoin around. This was the best you could have back in the day. Nano, Ryblox, whatever you want to call it. This was the state-of-the-art coin that everyone agreed was the future, right? It's went down so much that people actually just gave up on it, and it didn't really rally too much anymore. Just been down only. And I mean, this isn't the full chart. I don't know if there's actually a chart that shows the full mayhem, but from back in the day. But yeah, it's down a shitload. This was the coin that everyone thought was the future. Now, I could pull up 50 examples of this where people thought this is the coin that is going to change everything. And it's just not going to be. The coin that you're going to pick out 95% of the time is just not going to be the coin that sticks around. So if you're saying I'm going to accumulate during the bear market, you're going to buy something and it goes down 50%, and you're going to buy more and it goes 50% more down, and then you're going to buy more and then it goes 50% again. And this can continue to happen until you just run out of funds and lose hope and sell it. And then maybe you draw at least, maybe it doesn't, who the fuck knows. But when do you actually want to accumulate altcoins, right? And the answer is during bull markets. Why the fuck would you buy during bear markets when like the coins are actually dying, right? Like there's actually coins that just disappear when you can just buy them in the bull market, and then just be happy, right? This broke the all-time high. Solana broke the all-time high and then went on a run of 1.1k%, right? After it broke the all-time high. If you saw the momentum shift earlier, I mean, fuck yeah, good for you. And this is why Bitcoin went up. Sushi, right? Started going, I mean, this is a stupid chart. Started going up and went up a shitload. And then in a bear market, I would not want to be buying this. Like why would I be buying any dips on this? I want to be buying this in the bull market. And I can pull up a million more. You don't want to be the guy that buys during a bear market. Makes no sense. If you want to be buying anything during a bear market, buy Bitcoin. IOTA as well, yeah. I mean, IOTA is one of the ones as well where people just were 100% certain that, well, this is just a better one. That, I mean, it's breaking down right now. That this was the future, right? And it's down, what? 95%, even if you don't include the wick, it's down 93%. I mean, nice. You bought this during the bear market, you accumulated it. Where the fuck is your money now? It's gone. And this is like, you don't buy altcoins during bear markets. Is all I'm saying. I mean, most of you guys will know. If you watch me, you will know. So, yeah. Please don't just 5 minutes of dating. What the fuck is wrong with you guys? I'm like here dying of like fucking food poisoning or corona. I'm not entirely sure. And people ask me constantly about dating advice while I'm shitting my soul out. My life is a fucking meme. Would you not recommend accumulating ETH? I mean, you want to buy ETH during a bull market, fine. I don't really see the point buying it during a bear market either. Don, where do you think is safe to short or long? So shorting, definitely not here. It's one of the worst places that we've had. Longing, I think, and I explained this earlier, above 40k, I think is a really good spot. Because then this strength against the S&P confirms you actually put in some strength, like crypto-related strength in general, because you break some resistances. We haven't really had that too much. This was the first resistance that was broken the entire way down, and that failed at the exact next resistance, right? So you want to at least make a higher low and start breaking resistances. And I think like if you want to be safe, the moment we start breaking 44, you actually have a high, a low here, a higher low, you have a high here and a higher high. And even if it does something like this, like let's say we go up from here, right? Even if it pulls back down, that's the dip you want to be buying into the support. And then you want to take it to 50 or to 60k. That is completely fine by me. It's just before we get through this area, it's really, really tough. And like I said, there's a lot of outside factors as well that are going to impact your trading. So yeah, I mean, it's just even if you're right, and your coin is the future, it's you have plenty of time to buy it during the bull market, even if it's up 5x from the bottom. And this is the one thing that is difficult to handle, because you kind of get used to bounces of like 20, 30, 40% during bear markets, like altcoins go down like this, and then they actually start turning around, go up 500%. And then it's really hard to buy them, right? And this is something that I have some trouble with doing as well. But sometimes you, like, if you know, okay, this stuff is fundamentally sound, and you know this is, like, if I bought 5 months ago, I would have the same entry, and it was good coin then, it's still a good coin, then sometimes you have to, like, bite the bullet, bet on the next 5x from there. And that's fine to do. And I mean, that's just how trading goes, right? The thing is, like, if a coin does something like this, where it goes down during this time 80%, 90%, and then immediately like 10x's, if you bought it on the left side of it, you have to be an absolute maniac if you at least put in like a little bit of like sizable money to be sane once it actually comes back up again, right? The only thing that you're gonna be thinking about if you put in like 15% of your net worth into this coin and it goes down 90% is where the fuck do I sell it? And then you're just gonna sell into the first like nice resistance, and it's gonna go up 10x from there. But if you instead buy into the strength, you're gonna think about the next resistance, and then you're gonna sell not into like a position of weakness, but into one of strength. And that makes a big difference, in my eyes anyway. There's some people that nail buying the absolute worst coins of them all during bear markets and then get in, accumulate it or whatever. But the problem with it is that you only hear the happy stories, right? There's gonna be 100 people that are gonna try it, and it's just going to be 5 people that you hear from that actually made it doing that. And they're going to give you the advice to do the same that they've done. But it's obviously not the right advice for everyone. And I mean, I guess that's just trading. Nothing works for everyone. You kind of have to figure out what you're good at yourself. Quite the interesting daily right now. Fully retraced. Which is nice because I still have ETH to sell. Because what I've been doing in the last few days, besides suffering, has been selling NFTs. And I still have the ETH from that I want to sell as well. Because I don't know, it feels kind of stupid to bet on the world going even crazier than it has and giving like a massive NFT season when we're actually having war in Europe. It's just, it seems a little bit absurd to me. So I've been selling NFTs. Yeah, still have some NFTs to sell, but got rid of most of it. And that netted me some ETH that I want to sell as well. So hope it bounces a little further, but I'm going to sell into the first resistance basically. But that could be bottom signals, honestly, the NFT stuff. I mean, I made money with my NFT trades overall. I did like a really, really bad trade on one project where I lost like on average like 50%, but made up for it in other projects. It's just how the NFT market works, I guess. But yeah, me basically selling into peak fear about the world going to fucking zero might be bottom things. So don't copy trade me on the NFT stuff. I'm like a novice in that, but I've been lucky to make some money, so happy on that front. Don, can you please chart XRP? Sure. I don't think there's much to see there though. So we've had exceptional strength on XRP, and then everything kind of went to shit and XRP kind of went with it. And now I think it's going to be interesting if we can reverse this candle in the next 3 days. So if we close above support here, right? So let's say this candle closes all the way up here. I think there's a play to be made towards the next resistance. But yeah, it's at support right now too. It's not the worst pair. It's interesting because this looks so much better than like 99% of the other altcoins out there. And it's XRP, so oof. But yeah, XRP looks better than most. It's just basically failed the daily range breakout and moved down. Not entirely sure if that's because of XRP though. It's basically just the market taking a dump. And that's why altcoin, like buying altcoins, even if they're strong, is so difficult when everything is going down, right? Because everything is gonna drag each other down. People see Dogecoin is down a shitload. They're gonna sell their XRP. People see that ETH is down, they're gonna sell their Atom. It's just how it is. And yeah, that's why, like, look at this. All of these look kind of rough, right? And I mean, I know these are my boomer coins, but still, like, you look all of these, like, you look at these altcoins and they just look like they want to go back into the bear market again, which makes buying altcoins really, really difficult. So yeah, I don't really have a setup on most of them. XRP, I could have one if I wanted to buy it. I think this is like a decent area to buy it. Like if you absolutely want to trade XRP and you think that there's going to be a ruling on XRP in the next week or 2 or 3, I think like a trade like this is still fine. It's, yeah, I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to take it just based on the fact that everything else looks like shit. Only XRP has actually a bullish setup. And that's not even like if it starts closing back below this breakout, it's some like at least sort of invalidated. Not really, but yeah, it's difficult. This one's difficult. But I would not want to be like, I'm not bearish on this just based on the fact that it's actually shown relative strength to everything else, moved before everything else and only pulled back when everything else pulled back massively. So there's some relative strength there, the same way that we talked about Bitcoin and the S&P. There's relative strength between XRP and Bitcoin, which is interesting. Okay. Oh man, okay, that's that. I hope that helps. Like I said, I mean, I'm a little bit besides me, so if I don't make any sense, you guys have to tell me because I'm not gonna realize. I'm a little bit out of it. Been a rough few days. Okay. But yeah, it's the daily is actually basically turning green right now. If that is the bottom, and I'm like, I have no idea what's going to happen at the exact bottom. I mean, so be it. So be it. That's just kind of how trading goes. Sometimes you just don't know, even if it is the bottom. But like I said, I want to see it go at least above here, if not above here. Before then, it's just, yeah, meh. The S&P is bouncing really strongly too. Turned green? Yeah, it did for a second there. Like I said, I'm legitimately just not excited. Don't ask me why. It's just, maybe that's the ultimate bottom signal. Me just being like, I mean, whatever. Could be. We in for another super casual Friday? No. It's gonna be me and Cred, and we're gonna, I guess, talk about news and stuff, which is actually gonna be interesting. I didn't want to do it too much today because it's more fun with Cred, and yeah. Not entirely sure what we're gonna do actually tomorrow, but it's gonna be us two. Are you in USD or Euro? Both. I have both. I'm not rooting for one or the other. Hey Don, are you interested in any normal stonks down multiples like PayPal? It's a tough situation really. Like I've been looking at it and I've been interested in buying. The thing is, like, from all my years of trading, right? The one thing that I've learned is that you don't want to be fading the stuff with strong momentum. You want to be on board with the momentum, right? And this is such strong momentum that even if this bounces, I think it's going to be a relief bounce. Like, look at this chart. I don't think this is going to be fixed again anytime soon. So I'm not going to be the guy that buys the dip on this, even though, like, I mean, it's PayPal. It's probably going to stick around for a while, right? But for me, it's really tough buying this just based on trading experience. So I would have to go and do all the fundamental analysis, and for that I'm not an expert, so I would actually have to talk with experts. So that's what I'm struggling with right now with PayPal, Facebook, all of that kind of stuff, because it's interesting, right? This stuff is down so much in, like, at least when you compare it to how it usually goes, right? This was up only from 2012 all the way, and now, like, we've had the COVID crash, which was like a little bit of a pullback, and then this shit, which just seems like so massive. That's really hard to judge, and I don't want to be the guy that just fades the first strong sign of reversal momentum that we get, because yeah, I think a lot of this stuff is overvalued, but then again, it's really tough to value it. If you look at Tesla, for example, I mean, I know Tesla is like, it's not that bad, but like Tesla is so fucking pricey for what it is, in my opinion. And yeah, it's down a lot, but yeah, I'm just not gonna, you're not gonna get me to buy this stuff. But that might be the boomer in me that doesn't get the tech. But if I see something go down 50%, I ready myself for another 50 instead of trying to buy the big dump to kind of ride it to riches. But I mean, maybe it goes up and proves me a fool. But stock wise, I'm not going to be buying the stuff that goes down the strongest. Just seems weird. Unless you have like some good reason to buy it, right? If you're like a super big Tesla bull and you think Elon Musk is going to change the world and you see it down 80%, you're obviously going to buy it, right? I'm not. So looks at one. Yeah, looks actually interesting. I was actually targeting one for like a potential buy. Now it's at one and I'm like not interested, which is probably the most bullish thing ever. This was capitulation. The reason why I said one is interesting, like sub one, is because you're always gonna, like, when you're coming from almost $10 and go all the way to below one, like the moment there's a zero in front, like when you go from a one to a zero in front, people start freaking the fuck out. Because a zero just seems like, okay, your shit just went to zero, right? If one, you can still handle. It went from 5 to 1, you're like, fuck. It goes from 1 to 0, even though there's a dot and there's a 9 behind, or like an 8. This feels like shit. This is just 10% different. It feels like shit though. So people are always going to, from these kind of jumps, they're always going to capitulate. So we kind of had a capitulation on this one. So if you're a massive looks bull, I think there's your capitulation. At least, I mean, you could still do this and then go up, but there's at least a reason to buy it now. Before there was none. Like, I saw this and there was just no reason to, like, anywhere in basically in the middle of this, once it actually broke supports, there was no reason to buy it. Reason why I turned away from looks a little bit is, one, because OpenSea, the CTO of OpenSea, kind of said that he could think or he would like a token, at least not literally what he said, but like in that direction. That was basically when he said that. I think that was here or something. And just no one really using the platform beyond the wash trading, even though like it was around for a while. I still think it's an interesting project. I still think this is like an infrastructure play that is actually interesting to make. So if I want to be buying something, I might actually break my rules and buy weakness at some point here. It's just I want to see the other altcoins be strong as well. And this is one of the ones where I'd be like, okay, I can see myself buy this instead of... like I see Litecoin be strong for whatever reason, and I just buy Looks instead of Litecoin, because I mean, why the fuck would you want to be buying Litecoin, right? That's kind of the way to go about these things. But yeah, looks rough. I mean, that is quite brutal. But this is capitulation below 1, which is at least something. Was trading also an issue, plus NFTs going down and losing momentum? Yep, exactly. The NFT stuff, I mean, have you guys seen the Punks floor? And I mean, people are going to hate me for this. I usually do this somewhere else. But there is a way to chart Punks. If anyone has it properly, give me the ticker. I think this is good enough. The floor of Punks anyway. It looks quite rough, even on a TA scale, right? So set a high, lower high, lower high. This seems to be bleeding out, and when the big projects bleed out and then you get a bunch of new mints and money just kind of diversifies everywhere, it starts getting dangerous. So with regards to NFTs, it's just, for me right now, I mean, Coinbase might change something, Coinbase Marketplace, but for me right now, one of the reasons why I kind of risked off on the NFT stuff. But we'll see. Me risking off might be the bottom. Who knows? Who knows? Would be okay with it though. Is what it is. So we're looking at Looks. Yeah, kinda, I guess. I would not ignore it, just because I think when you have stuff that goes down 90% that the entire community looks at, right? There's stuff that goes down 90% no one looks at, and you don't want to be buying that crap, right? But if something goes down 90% while everyone looks at, like everyone looks at it and everyone knows that it's not a scam, there's sometimes a nice play to be made. Looks like Bitcoin 2018. It does a little bit. Like ENS. I don't like ENS. I mean, I haven't even looked at the chart, but I'm not going to be buying ENS. I don't like the drama that surrounds it. It's just, you're not going to get me to buy this, no matter how good or bad the chart looks. I think it's all stupid. I'm not going to be involved. Is Coinbase NFTs a sell the news event? It depends on how many normies are interested in buying NFTs. And I think if there's a war going on that kind of captures everyone's attentions, I don't think memes and meme stocks and NFTs are going to do too well, right? When people are legitimately worried, they're not going to be, like, people are like fake worried and are like, like this entire system is rigged, I'm going to be buying Dogecoin, right? That's one thing. But if people are actually worried, they're not going to be spending their money on fucking Dogecoin or on NFTs or on any of that crap, I think. So I think, like, I didn't expect there to be actual war. I expected for sanity to kind of kick in and for it to stop a little bit short of that. Now that we have it, and it's as high profile as it is, it's pretty damn tough to make an argument for memes, right? It's just, it's the worst kind of conditions to launch anything that has Ponzi character, right? Why would anyone buy into Ponzi when they're worried about their family or like in general the situation somewhere else? It'd surprise me if stuff would do well. I could see Bitcoin do well. I'd be very surprised if you see Dogecoin do well, for example. Like the actual good stuff, I think can make a profit during bad times. The bad stuff, I'd be very surprised. So that's why it could be a seldom used event, because I don't think there would be too many new people coming in being too eager to buy NFTs if the situation doesn't resolve, right? If people are worried about, like legitimately worried about themselves or the entire world basically falling into chaos, I don't think that's necessarily the first thing that they're gonna do. You ever bullish in anything ever, Don? I'm laughing my ass off. I'm new here. I am from time to time. Yeah, I mean I've been exposed to NFTs for the last, I don't know, too long, months and months. I've been bullish ETH, quite low actually. It's just I usually buy the lows and then sell at some point again. But yeah, from time to time I do tend to be bullish. It's just people don't remember me being bullish because my overarching attitude is be careful. Because for me, this is still like such a shitty market and such a Ponzi market that it just makes sense to kind of trade that way, I guess. Most of the shit should not be around. Most of the people in the space, maybe not most, but a lot of people should be in jail, really. So it's like you just gotta be careful, right? And that doesn't mean you have to be bearish on everything crypto. It just means you have to be very, very careful with what you pick, in my opinion. And that might sound like I'm bearish on everything. It's fine by me. What's the best bottom signal you found? Absolute and utter depression. When I'll host this stream and 50 people are gonna come on, that's gonna be a good fucking bottom signal. Or when you go into your favorite chat room and there's 20 people talking, that is like the best kind of bottom signal that you're gonna get. That's what we got in 2018. Doesn't have to mean we get it again, right? But that's usually like when people are legitimately depressed. I was in chat rooms with like people of note in crypto Twitter, and there was talk about like, I mean, in a choking way, right? But there was very, very dark humor every single day. So that kind of stuff, it gets really dark in bear markets in crypto. Other than that, if you don't want to go off of the sentiment, you can also just look at the monthly time frame. And usually when with monthly support and sentiment is bad, it's a pretty good bottom signal. So maybe we're talking the bottom into existence right now, which I'd be fine with, right? That'd be kind of nice. Bottoming out here at monthly support would be nice. But yeah, best chart signal is the monthly. Just look at it. You can look through it for a while and actually just draw some lines and kind of see how well it fits. And it does fit quite well. And then sentiment-wise, what I said earlier. What would be your mega buy if the 30K support doesn't hold? I think 25 is a really good buy. 20K is also a good buy. And then if we do that, worst comes to worst, right? I'll draw the bullish thing first and people aren't gonna be so mad. So we had support. There's a chance we go to resistance, right? Always. But there's also a chance we break the support. Where do we go? I think there's a good chance that it's going to be straight down towards like 25 to 20K, somewhere in there. And then it's going to bounce. And if it's bullish, we're going to just reclaim and then just go. And if that bounce doesn't produce anything, or like if the stocks dump more or whatever, and we head further down, I think we're gonna have like a nasty time on our hands, and then we're gonna go sub 20. But I think in likelihood, like if I had to rank these in likelihood, right, I think most likely is still bounce from support. Second most likely is go down and then bounce and then come back up. And then the third most likely is actually going sub 20. So there you go. Only problem is with buying here that your stop is gonna be basically where a pretty good buy is gonna be, which is gonna be like 25 to 23K. So you either sit through it and get fucked, or you don't, and then you maybe miss the bottom and it's gonna be difficult. That's why I'm waiting for the lower time frames to kind of show me the way. And like a daily candle like this is a pretty good first sign if this maintains towards the weekend and throughout the weekend and goes back above 40K. Because the thing is, right, like if you sold anywhere here, like people always try to do this basically. Sell here, buy here, sell here, buy here, sell here, buy here, sell here, buy here. This is unrealistic. It's never going to happen. What you're going to do instead, right? Let's say you're bearish and you sell here and you buy here. You're not going to get your resistance test, or it's not going to just fill your orders. You're like, fuck, oh well, I'm going to be greedy. And then you're going to get completely wrecked, even though you're in the opposite position that you wanted to be in. It goes down, you capitulate, it goes back up. It's going to be hell if you trade that way. There's only very, very few people that trade this way successfully, and most of them blow up at some point anyway. What you do instead is you have like an idea where the market is gonna go. You have like a thesis. You sell, it goes down. You start like going back into position or whatever somewhere. It goes further down and then at some point comes back up, right? You're not gonna catch the entire move. You're not gonna catch the bottom every time. You're not gonna catch the top every time. And that's not necessarily the important part. You want to catch this move, right? And you want to catch, you don't need to catch this move. You want to catch this move. Or even this entire one. Because, I mean, is this really significant? No, it's not in the grand scheme of things. And if you're kind of risking it, risking it all every time to kind of make this, I mean, you're going to lose it all eventually. You have to risk to make something like this happen. And there's there's good setups to be had, and there's risky setups to be had. And oftentimes the risky setups are the ones where it's like you're right in front of resistance or momentum is against you. And then it looks really cool on a screenshot, or you can brag about it to your friends that you bought the exact peak or bottom. And I mean, sometimes I do that too, and it feels nice, but it's not necessarily the best way to trade. I was on Twitch on your stream at the bottom in March 2020, talk about Doom. Yeah, that was fucking insane. I bought, for the people that weren't around, I bought Bitcoin down here somewhere. I don't even quite remember. It might have been in the 3Ks, somewhere down here. And then I was like, before I'm gonna do anything stupid, I'm just gonna throw on the stream and talk about it with like the chat. And fucking price went down to like low 3Ks, and we were all freaking out. And then it went up a shitload. Good times, good times. OGs remember. I'm so sad that that stream got deleted by Twitch. This pump is strong. Yeah, it's really nice actually. This is the one thing that I look for when I trade the lower time frames, it's like that relative strength between the S&P and Bitcoin, right? Look at this. You see Bitcoin's almost back to the highs here. The S&P not even close. That's a good sign, not a bad one. Twitch was more fun. Yeah, but I mean, times change, my friends. Times change. Ay. Nice. Hopefully ETH BTC is going up as well. Not as much, but not bad as well. So yeah, I'm gonna get to sell my ETH nicely. So gonna do that in a bit. I think we've streamed for long enough anyway. But yeah, I appreciate you guys coming by. This is lit. This is a massive squeeze. This is what happens when people short into monthly support. Doesn't have to mean anything. It's just, I mean, it's just you have monthly support, people start shorting. That's why I say, like, there's one area that you don't want to be shorting in. That's monthly support. So yeah, appreciate you guys coming by. Appreciate the sponsor of the show, which is FTX, as I've said earlier. Their links are in the description. You should check them out. They're pretty cool, good partners as well. And yeah, appreciate you guys coming by. Appreciate you listening to me rambling while I'm like not even close to there mentally. Hope it helped anyway. And yeah, we'll see each other next time. Bye bye.